It's interesting, right? I would be curious, like, what the audience thinks about this. Did you feel bad, like, person watching this, about any of, like, Abby's companions? So hello and welcome to another episode of Wiki Weekends. I'm your host for this episode, Karl Smallwood, joined as ever by the illustrious Holland.
Hello there.
If anyone unfamiliar with the format, this is the series where we scour the lengths and breadths of the internet for a wiki on a subject we're interested in and see what kind of subject arises as a result. And this week, Lucas, it's a very special episode because the topic was informed by our audience over on our Patreon. And it being Pride Month, at the time of recording at least, I decided to let our audience pick from a variety of queer characters from fiction. So they have the choice between choosing a queer character from TV, movies, video games, or books. And they chose video games, so now we're going to talk about Ellie from The Last of Us. I guess first and foremost, Lucas, what do you think of the character of Ellie from The Last of Us series?
So, I think Ellie from The Last of Us is a very intriguing character. I don't necessarily think likable, because if you've played through both of those games, I'm not really sure I can call them a likable character by the end of the second one.
I think anybody in The Last of Us is likable, right? By design.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
So, yeah, it's a weird thing. There's a lot of things that I'm obviously going to get kind of mixed up on a little bit, so I'll keep it vague, because I read these interviews years ago when, around the time Last of Us came out, and listening to podcasts with them on and stuff. But the general vibe is that Neil Druckmann thought that they did an excellent job of making you feel sorry for Abby by the end of the video game, because they managed to surround them with like a group of likable people, and you'd realise that they're all realistically just the same kind of people on the opposite side, and they're not villains.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me that, like, in private conversation a while ago, and I was like, no. There's no way they thought they nailed it. There's no way they thought, like, Abby can be a sympathetic character in the sense that her situation is very sad, as is the situation of, like, most characters that you play as in the game. But when you specifically said, I surrounded Abby by likeable characters, I was like, there's no fucking way they thought they nailed it in that sense, because Abby as a character doesn't like the people she's with.
We let our guard down, and they strung up an entire squad.
That was in retaliation to us shooting those kids.
Okay, but those kids attacked our guys. What would you do?
I don't know, not riddle them with bullets?
I'd rather save our people.
Manny, they're kids. It's not their fault.
Not our fault either. Those deaths are on them.
Yara and Lev, later on, the kids. Obviously, like, that's when you get to see more of a human side with Abby, and maybe that's what they were talking about, and maybe, like, muddled the words a little bit, but I'm fairly certain that their intention was, hey, you feel sorry for the WLF by the end of it, as well, because you realise that they're also just trying to get by.
Isaac.
What the hell are you doing?
I need you to hear me out.
What's that behind you?
He saved my life.
Move out of the way. We'll deal with you back home.
He's not one of them, please.
Abby, move.
God damn it, he's just a kid!
You have 3 seconds to get away from that scar.
The militaristic force that's shooting children, right? Like, there's a part in the game where one of your companions, I think it is Manny, where they talk about how, yeah, we shot a bunch of children who threw rocks at us the other week, and then he laughs about it.
We let our guard down, and they strung up an entire squad.
That was in retaliation to us shooting those kids. That was in retaliation to us shooting those kids. That was in retaliation to us shooting those kids.
Okay, but...
Right.
And then you have, like, the other companions who all talk about, like, I guess, spoilers for the game. They kill Joel. At no point during the game do any of them ever talk about how they probably went a little bit too far, which would reinforce that idea of revenge. Like, you know, stealing a part of your soul, a part of your humanity. Every single member of, like, Abby's group is like, yeah, we're fucking glad that we killed Joel. We should have killed him harder.
Right, yeah.
And
I guess I was shook by Jackson, too.
You don't think Joel deserved what he got?
I think he deserved worse. I just wish I didn't take part in it.
And I thought the intention with Abby was that she becomes disillusioned with the WLF and realises that they're pieces of shit too.
That was in retaliation to us shooting those kids.
Ellie Williams is the central character of the Last of Us series. She serves the protagonist of Last of Us American Dreams, the playable deuteragonist of Last of Us Part 1, and the playable protagonist of Last of Us Left Behind, and the playable dual protagonist of Last of Us Part 2. She's also a playable character in the No Return mode, which is like the roguelike mode they put in as DLC, which fucking sucks. I'm just going to say, it fucking sucks because, hey, that cool thing you do in Last of Us where you're upgrading your guns and your character pulls apart their gun and puts it back together, that's a cool thing in the main game. When you are playing the roguelike mode and you have to upgrade your gun every single fucking time, I don't want to see that screen.
Yeah, it's annoying that has to be like a 1-2 minute operation to get an upgrade on your gun when you're going through the roguelike mode, right?
It makes replaying that roguelike mode like multiple times just an absolute ball ache. Like, make it just a screen when I pick my upgrade so I can get straight back into the next wave.
It's also just horrendously short per run with very little rewards apart from, do you want to play as a different character?
It's like, do you want to play as Manny, the guy who shoots children? No. No, I don't.
That was in retaliation to us shooting those kids.
But to get the Joel skin with a different flannel shirt, you need to play as Manny 5 times or some shit like that.
The fact they didn't put in Zombie Joel, what a missed opportunity, eh? But so, Ellie grew up as an orphan in the Boston quarantine zone and attended military prep school, where she met and befriended Riley Abbey. And this is why we picked Ellie as a character to represent queer characters in video gaming, because Ellie is gay.
Yeah, and that was one thing that was brought up in The Last of Us Left Behind, which obviously not enough people played, because when The Last of Us 2 trailer came out and they had the barnyard scene, like, yeah, did you not know that about the character, where they have an entire DLC about her losing the person that she has her first kiss with?
Yep. But I guess people who were fans of Last of Us didn't play Last of Us Left Behind.
No, they're clearly not fans enough.
Aha! I like that one, Lucas. So, when Ellie was 14, the pair were both infected by the cordyceps brain infection, where Ellie discovered that she was immune.
I think it's clear.
Ellie. Ellie, your arm.
That's like basically just the crux of the entire series. Like, she is the single most important character in the entire franchise.
Everything revolves around that plot, right? The first game is getting her there. Obviously spoilers for the games. Just then at the end of The Last of Us Part 1, it's about saving Ellie because Joel is selfish.
Let me go! Please.
You just come after her.
For understandable reasons. That's the thing. We're not saying
understandably selfish. I wanted to do that when I was playing as Joel in that moment, but you've got to understand it's a selfish and not heroic move.
Yes, like Joel makes the unilateral decision that humanity is not worth saving. Which,
and also
playing the
just
game
that
and looking at that world, sure.
Also, he doesn't want to lose another daughter. That's the main kind of theme for Joel.
Oh, shit.
Like, it is, like I said, it's one man deciding to sacrifice the entire world for his daughter. And a lot of people have talked about how they would make the exact same... You mentioned, like, you'd make the exact same choice. I'd have made the same choice. And I think there was, like, talk if they were going to make that a choice in the game, like, whether or not to kill the Doctor. But when they playtested the game, literally every single person playtesting just immediately shot the Doctor.
Get away from her! Get away!
You can't save her, even if you get her out of here. What then? What then? She'll be raped and murdered. Raped and murdered.
It's not for you to decide!
And I also think it just, again, it makes it more interesting, because I went back to that moment to go, oh, what happens if you choose not to? It's like, no, it's not a choice. And they, again, they stuck to their fucking guns, and they were like, no, this is the story we're telling.
Well, it's interesting, though, because supposedly the ending for Last of Us 2 was going to be a choice, and you had the choice whether or not to spare Abby. But every single player shot Abby. And they didn't like that, so instead they made it so the canonical choice that Ellie makes is to forgive her. I'm not sure how accurate that is, so I'll do a double check. 'Cause that sounds like that could be like internet cope, right?
Yeah.
But I have heard like supposedly there was a version of the game where you had a choice whether or not to spare Abby at the end, and players just didn't make that choice. Players always chose to shoot her. It's
certainly believable from my perspective, because I never really reached a moment where I felt sorry for Abby, or maybe sympathetic. I felt sorry for her situation, because yeah, it sucks having your dad killed, but I ultimately think that the rampage that she goes on is, it doesn't make her a sympathetic character in my eyes, and I didn't like her.
I'm not gonna fight you. Yes, you will. He's not a part of this. You made him a part of this.
And Ellie similarly goes on a massive rampage, as does Joel. The difference is, we play as Joel. I'm reminded of the game, do you ever Telltale Walking Dead games?
Mm-hmm.
Where, from an outsider's perspective, you look at like the character of like Lee and Clementine, objectively, they're pretty bad characters. Even if you go by, they made the perfect choices, the best choices in every situation, because it's like, a game where you can choose what you do in a given scenario. The character is still pretty monstrous from an objective standpoint, but because you play as them, you have an affinity for them and you like them.
Fuck off. I want my baby to be the cutest. Whose baby is it? Don't do it!
Whose baby is it?
Excuse me?
It's not Marvin's. Whose is it?
Oh,
shut your fucking mouth.
Oh, shit. Oh my god! She looks like that Dante shot! Oh, man! You should be nicer to me!
Think about being nicer to me.
Oh my god! Oh my god, this is so good! Oh my god!
In like the third season of the Walking Dead game, you play as like a new character and you encounter Clementine. And throughout that game, they introduce multiple scenarios where you can side against Clem. And I don't know what the writers were trying to do, because I've spoke to multiple people about this. Nobody ever chose to side against Clementine.
Yeah, no, sorry, dude. You picked the wrong characters to say you want to trade.
Just gonna go.
Take another step. Javi, please.
Shooting him is really rough too, but
it's unfortunate that it had to go like that.
The only thing I could ever see working out is accept the plan. Then you tell Clem, I'm actually not going to accept the plan. I'm going to help you later.
They seemingly wrote the game thinking that you wouldn't have the knowledge that you had in the previous two games where you played as her, or like were the guardian of the guardian in the first game, players are in the second game. And it's like, did you really think anyone was ever going to side against the character they played as in the previous game for like 20 hours, and that you wrote a great story for to become attached to? And it feels like that for Last of Us 2 of, did you really expect us to side against Ellie at any point? Did you really think you could write a story good enough to make us not support her?
I think they did, in the sense of, I think Ellie becomes extremely unlikable by the end of it, and that is the point that she becomes a monster herself and loses her friends and her family and everything along the way. And
the symbolism is not subtle. She loses the ability to play the guitar. So the message there seems pretty clear to me of, in her quest to avenge Joel, she lost the one connection she had to him. It's like she lost the one part of herself that allowed her to stay connected to Joel, could have potentially allowed Joel to his memory and his legacy to live on, because she can no longer teach anyone to play that guitar.
Also, just, maybe the only actual likable character by the end of 2, Dina, leaves her.
Yep. Because she recognises, like, this is not the person I fell in love with.
Yeah, she's like, look, we have a home, we have a family, We have everything we could want. Do you want to make the choice right now to leave and get revenge instead? And I won't be here when you come back.
Yeah, it's like you make a choice. Do you want to go kill Abby? Is killing her that important that you're willing to throw away what you've built?
Mm-hmm.
And for Ellie, it is.
Hey, stop. Hey, come on. We've got a family. She doesn't get to be more important than that. No.
And like the story as I read it is ultimately about how fruitless revenge is, which is why I found it interesting that there's like hints that the writer thought they nailed it in making some characters sympathetic. 'Cause the only real sympathetic character is like Dina, because she does engage on the revenge quest but abandons it.
Like, kind of realizes the mistake that she's made, right? And just, look, we've gotten this far. Maybe this is a bad idea. We're literally watching our friends die. This is not worth it.
It's not worth it. Is this what Joel would have wanted for you?
I love you. Prove it. Stay. I can't.
And in Ellie's mind, it probably is right, because if I imagine if Abby would have killed Ellie, Joel would have done the exact same fucking thing. But Joel's not a good character. Like, he's a good character, but he's not a good man. He tries to be, but he knows his actions are so monstrous that eventually a reckoning would come. That's why I think he doesn't even bother asking Abby who she is, because he knows at some point, in the back of his head, he always knew, someone out there is going to come and get me.
Joel Miller.
Who are you?
Guess.
Why don't you say whatever speech you got rehearsed and get this over with?
Yeah, he insinuates, I can't remember it's in 1 or 2, but he just insinuates of like, yeah, I've done this shit to other people, it's gonna happen to me at some point.
Yeah, it's the moment you get ambushed in Last of Us 1, right? Where it's like, he ain't even hurt, and just crashes the car straight into him, and Ellie's like, how did you know that they were trying to stick us up and steal our stuff? And Joel's like, I've been on the other side.
Please!
Holy shit. Help! Are we gonna help him?
Put your seatbelt on, Ellie.
Well, what about the guy?
He ain't even hurt.
Yeah, and I do think there's a line thrown in there similar to that where they get captured by Abby's group of just, yeah, I think he does say something along the lines of, I knew this day would come kind of vibe.
Like, he fully accepts that he's going to be killed. His only regret is that Ellie sees him die. And I think part, like, how I read that scene is, like, one, Joel's sad to see Ellie witness his death. But also I think he also knows that if she sees this, she's just going to be like he would and just go for revenge. Right? She's going to turn into the rageful monster that he was, rather than pursuing the life that he helped build for her.
Yeah, because, I mean, at the start of Last of Us 2, she's managed to be saved by Joel, and ultimately their relationship is in a horrible place because Ellie doesn't trust that he told her the truth.
Yeah, and Joel's okay with that. Like, he's okay with that because he's like securing the knowledge that I don't care if she hates me as long as she stays alive. And that's why I think, like, when Dinah's like, hey, would Joel want this? It's like, absolutely not, no. Like, he allowed you to hate him because he knew that if you hated him, at least you'd stay safe. Like, he was okay with fucking dying and getting his head, like, caved in with a golf club for you to stay safe.
Fucking kill you!
Yeah, and, you know, she's in a community that's thriving, she's got friends, she's actually living her life, and ultimately it's, you know, that's what Joel's happy with, because he just lost his daughter around the same age and would do anything to bring her back and let her have a life, right?
Yeah. So, like, something we want to clarify there is, it's like, Joel's not a good person. Like, this is a thing people sometimes get upset by. If, like, well, Joel's a good character, I like Joel, doesn't mean he's a good person. Like, his acts are objectively, demonstrably monstrous. He is a mass-murdering psychopath. But he's an interesting character. And by the second game, if he's not achieved forgiveness for what he's done, he's at least accepted the man that he is and the man that he had to be to get to where he is at that point. And like I said, as you said, when Abby and her group might take him down, he accepts it because he always knew that his past might catch up with him.
How did you know?
Know what?
About the ambush.
I've been on both sides.
He's okay with who he was and who he had to be in that moment, and his seemingly biggest regret is that Ellie might potentially become the same thing and continue the cycle, right?
Yeah, he just wants her to be able to live a quote-unquote normal life.
As any father would, right? Like, any father would sacrifice themselves for their child to keep living.
Yeah, and that's ultimately the point, but...
It's the point as I read it. Seemingly the writer maybe had different intentions.
Yeah, and, people take away different things, clearly, because a lot of people, when we mention this, will defend Joel to the hilt of, like, no, he's a great person. It's like, he's a good dad, but he's not a nice man.
Yeah, and he accepts that. That's the character themselves accepts that. And one of my favourite parts of Last of Us 2 is that you get to see what it would be like to experience, like, Joel's rampage from the perspective of someone who has no fucking clue who he is. Mm-hmm. And I think to the moment where you're playing as Abby, and the Tommy moment, where Tommy's sniping them, and but first you don't know it's Tommy, but you walk in with one of your mates, and just their head gets blown off.
Manny.
Screw it.
He's just picking you off like it's nothing, like you're an animal. Like, absolutely zero remorse or regret, going for instant kill shots every single fucking time. And it's terrifying, right, trying to fight Tommy.
Yeah, it is. But, it would be very different than trying to fight my Joel, where just when I'm playing through The Last of Us Part 1, it's like, right, I've got my brick, I'm ready. That's always the way I enter a room with Joel, just brick in hand and taking out 4 clickers with my bare hands.
I did find that interesting. I didn't like playing as Abby that much, but I did appreciate just how fucking scary it would be to experience like an ambush from Tommy. Because all I think is, imagine what prime Tommy and Joel were like. When they were like in their element and they were completely without their humanity. So that's like vengeful Tommy. So he's going to kill. I'm thinking like completely like soulless. This is just a matter of routine. Tommy and Joel, where they don't even give a fuck. They'd have been absolutely horrifying to fight, right?
Yeah, and you kind of experience it at the start of the game with the Joel part where, oh, what's it like to get ambushed by people? Like, just a group of people pretend that they need your help, ambush you and kill you. That's what realistically was happening to a bunch of people when Joel and Tommy were around.
And thematically, it is very appropriate that Joel dies by being ambushed by people that he trusted, because that's how he self-admittedly survived in the past, right? He says like he would be the guy, or one of the guys who was pretending to be injured to ambush people to steal their stuff. He's remorseful about it, but he admits that he did it. And yeah, that's how he gets killed. He trusts a stranger, and that stranger is not someone who should have been trusted.
It's interesting as well, because Ellie is not Joel in that sense of when you see Ellie in Last of Us 2 become her version of a monster. It's just straight up, oh no, I'm a perfect killing machine.
Batman, right? And I was going to say, like, and equally, fighting Joel and Tommy is different because that's just an absolute force of nature who wants you dead and has the skills to back it up, right? Mm-hmm. And it requires, like, an entire squad of people to take out an injured fucking one-legged, one-eyed Tommy. That's what makes you think, like, if this dude had both his eyes and both his legs and his brother with him, Abby's group would not stand. Like, that's what I think about a theoretical game where Ellie's the one who was killed. Abby's group would not have had a fucking chance, right?
Yeah, that like fucking stadium of people would have lasted a day.
I think so, like Joe, when like Abby is trying to track Tommy before you know that he's there, and like Ellie and Abby are like encountering like what Tommy left behind, like where you find just the dude who's just in like the room who's been tortured to death, and Abby's like, yeah, this is probably Tommy. So how do you know it's Tommy? This guy looks like he's been all kinds of fucked up. His kneecap's been ripped off. So yeah, that's what they do. Joel told me, like, what you do is you stab one in the gut and just get them both to point at a map.
The fuck happened here? Tommy did this. This?
And it's like, that's what Tommy was doing. And that's what I think of like a theoretical like version of that game where Ellie was killed. There would not be a story, because Abby's group would already be dead.
You'd never have met Yara and Lev because the story would have lasted like 3 seconds.
Like they're saying, it wouldn't have been 3 days, it'd been 3 hours. Right? But like the other thing that I appreciate is when you play as Abby, and this is what I also found interesting. Like, it's clearly when the point comes where Abby and Ellie meet and they fight, and you control Abby. And from a gameplay perspective, trying to fight Ellie is fucking terrifying because she's just invisible. You can't see her. She comes out of nowhere and just stabs you in the face, and it's like she's unbeatable. But from a narrative standpoint, I just remember playing that the first time and sat there thinking, oh, they really thought they had something here. They thought by this point in the game, I'd want to kill Ellie, and that's why they're giving me control of Abby in this scenario. I don't want to fight Ellie, but clearly the writer thought by that point I would, and I remember just bursting out laughing when that happened. I went, wow, you thought you nailed it.
Yeah, and maybe that's not what they were going for, but it's hard for us to know.
What else would the intention be? Why else would they give you control of Abby in that moment if they didn't think by that point in the game you wanted to fight Ellie?
I mean, maybe to literally just put the fear of God in you and see how brutal Ellie is.
Yeah, but I just found it fascinating when I got to that moment. Like, did they, like I said with the Walking Dead example, did they really think by this point in the game, do they really think they've done enough narratively to make me want to shoot Ellie with a shotgun?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to do that.
I think that's why it's a good decision at the end of the game for you to be back in Ellie's shoes with the final fight, right? But then you realise that you get to Abby, and like as much as I wanted to kill Abby throughout it, you do kind of get to that end and go, you're not even worth it at that point.
You're so pathetic it's not worth killing you. And you just, like you said, you do feel sorry for like, Abby's situation. You look and go, there's nothing there. The person that killed Joel is no longer in front of me. This is like a broken husk of a human. And there's no satisfaction in killing you because you're not the person who killed Joel. You're a different person. Which is what Abby experienced throughout the game, right? She like becomes disillusioned with the wolves.
And also just fucking tortured and emaciated by the end of it, right?
Like she's no longer the person Ellie was seeking revenge against, and I think Ellie recognises that of just what satisfaction I gain from killing you.
Even in just a physical sense, she is not the big buff Abby who was in control of the situation. It's like, yeah, she's literally been tortured and starved.
But in that vein though, Lucas, do you have any like favourite Ellie moments? 'Cause I do appreciate that moment as Abby where you get to see what it's like to fight Ellie, because it does give you an appreciation for just how fucked everyone is when they're trying to fight you, right? Just this completely invisible, like 100-pound, like 5 foot tall girl sprinting around with a switchblade.
Yeah, I do like that element, and I think the gameplay is so much more satisfying in Last of Us 2 with the moveset and mechanics that you have. But just every moment that I actually like Ellie for is almost entirely from The Last of Us 1 and Left Behind. Just, I love Ellie in that game, where obviously the Left Behind stuff is just basically, for the most part, you and your best mate dicking around for an hour and a half before you get bitten by zombies.
And I do like how much of a shit Ellie is, even like as she grows.
Yeah.
Like so it's mentioned here that her age between the games is so in Left Behind she is 13 to 14 years old, and then in Part 2 she is 19. And like the bit where you get attacked by like the rattlers, and she gets bit, and Ellie takes advantage of the fact that she's infected.
Right.
And do you know what? I appreciate she keeps doing that, because that's a really good fucking card to play in a post-apocalypse where one of those bites is an instant death sentence. She's really clever for continually playing the card of, I am infected.
I obviously like pretty much all of the moments in Left Behind here where they're just dicking about going into like photo booths and wearing masks and having like thinking of like a water gun fight, and it's just a great little vignette of showing Ellie's fun side. But I do really enjoy that kind of the little that you see of, I think it's Sarah, his actual kid, Joel's actual daughter at the beginning of the game. She's kind of seen as this very calm, sweet demeanor child who, you know, kind of the perfect little quiet, cute girl, right?
A curious, precocious child, which is what Joel sees in Ellie, and the moments that are great narratively are where Joel gets to experience that. Like, he lives vicariously through Ellie. Like, when they go into the museum, right? And she's just like, oh my god, a fucking dinosaur. And it's like probably the first time in Joel's, like, 10 years since, like, the world went to shit, that he's actually got to just experience the wonderment of a child experiences something for the first time. And that's why he feels such a fierce, protective desire to make sure nothing hurts her.
Holy shit, Joel.
We're here.
Oh my god, it is a dinosaur!
And it is.
Joel!
Surprise.
Holy shit. Oh, it's a motherfucking dinosaur!
And why he goes into such like fucking just Papa Bear Batman rage mode when she gets injured.
Yeah, because for the most part, like, you know, the enjoyable part for most of the game is that Ellie's a little shit to him, and just every time he's like hoping to have his daughter there, he's actually got a kid who's grown up in a fucking apocalypse who doesn't give a shit.
I guess you could read it narratively of the conversation like some parents have of, oh, I had this sweet little kid who I was their entire world, and they turn into like just a fucking teenage little shit. Right? Oh. And that's what like Ellie is for Joel. Like, just he's got to now deal with a teenager. He wants to assert their independence and like, oh, I don't need a dad. I don't need a dad. But also they do.
But then again, the thing that he kind of sees that child in her is when she's able to read the comic books, right?
Yes.
And that's why they go around collecting the comics. But I do enjoy the moment when they're in the car and she just pretends that she's reading a porn magazine, and he's like, whoa, you can't be doing
like,
that.
Why are all these pages stuck together? And Joel's like...
Now, Ellie, that ain't for kids.
Whoa! How the hell would he even walk around with that thing?
Get rid of that.
Hold your horses. I want to see what all the fuss is about. Oh, why are these all stuck together? I'm just fucking with you.
That's the thing about a character. That's why a character's so sad, isn't it? Of, like, you know, her childhood was essentially stolen from her by like the experience of the world, which is what Joel was trying to protect her from. And I'll give big props. Like, you know, it is, as I said, Joel, monstrous character. His reaction is completely understandable. Like Joel, just he wakes up from like the infection after like Ellie gets the antibiotics for him. And it's just, he wakes up and is like, okay, Ellie's not here. Okay, some dude's over there. I don't give a fuck, I'm just going to pop your kneecap off with a knife. And just like, this is why I give big props to Pedro Pascal playing Joel in Last of Us. Have you seen the live action show?
No, I have not, no.
Okay, so do you like the moment where Joel's torturing the guy to get information on where the camp is?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Pedro Pascal is like fucking terrifying in that moment. Because there's just nothing behind his eyes.
Because I can't imagine him being a terrifying, imposing guy. And obviously that's why he's a good actor, right?
Like, what makes it scary is, like I said, there's just nothing in his eyes. There's zero compassion or like emotion about what he's doing. It's like he's skinning an animal or something like that, where he just walks up to the guy, puts the knife in his knee and pops his kneecap off and says, tell me what I want to know.
She's alive.
Where?
Oh, fuck! Oh, the town!
What town?
Silver Lake.
And the guy's like screaming in agony. He's like, shh. Tell me what I want to know.
Oh, fuck! Jesus! Marco.
No. He can't help you. You focus right here.
It reminds me of his name's Tony Dalton, right? Who's the first thing that I'd seen him in or remembered seeing him in was Hawkeye, where he plays a very silly character, right? He plays the swordsman, and ultimately they try to put a bit of a red herring in of like, is he the bad guy? But he's ultimately not. He's just a bit of a weirdo. But then I saw him in Better Call Saul as Lalo and was like, oh my, this is a different human being.
Yeah, and Tony Dalton similarly has the ability to, I don't know how an actor does it, I describe it as like there's nothing behind the eyes, of just when like Tony Dalton as Lalo goes into psychopath mode, and just you see he'll be smiling, but you can tell he's not smiling with his eyes. Which is like, they say like the truth is in the eyes, right? And it's terrifying when Lalo just goes into like sociopath mode. And Pedro Pascal has that ability, and like during that scene where he's just talking of like, tell me where she is. And the bit that's like just absolutely just ice fucking cold, kills the dude, walks over, is like, I don't want to tell you anything. It's okay. I believe him. And just beats him to death with an iron pipe.
You motherfucker, fuck you. I ain't telling you shit.
It's okay.
No.
I believe him.
No.
With zero emotion, because he doesn't give a fuck. Right? When he says like, have you any idea how many fucking people I've killed? Do you think it matters that you're screaming and begging for help? I don't care. Like, they have a similar moment, like, do you know the ambush moment?
Yeah.
It's played different in the live action show where, like, Ellie saves him by shooting a guy, and she shoots the guy in the spine and paralyzes him. And the entire time that he's begging for his life, Joel's just, like, picking up resources, and he walks over and he picks up his knife, takes his gun, and, like, he's begging, like, please help me, like, I don't want to die, and Joel, like, not even listening, he's like, Ellie, just go outside, I'll take care of this. Like, I'm not going to shoot him, that's a waste of resources, pulls out his knife, and just stabs him to death. It's like, I don't care.
You can have it. It's a good knife.
Get back behind the wall.
No, I'm sorry, please. We could just talk. I'm sorry, please, no, please, please, I'm sorry, please. You know what happened.
And it's horrifying to watch, but like Pedro Pascal, it's terrifying in that moment. Of like, this guy is a threat, and I will kill him, and I don't care. I don't care what I have to do, because all that matters is keeping Ellie safe.
And that's where it becomes really interesting with Ellie in part 2, right? Is that they lose all likability and they become just as disconnected.
Ellie still has some of that innocence because nothing she's done has been malicious. It's always been in like self-defense, and like you can argue that the world as a whole is hostile, so everything that Joel does is technically in self-defense. But he himself admits that he's a monster. He knows that he is, but he's okay with that because he's in his head he's doing it for a good reason, to protect his daughter, his adoptive daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, when Ellie starts to go down that path and she starts to get to like, the cold, soulless, fuck you, I'm just going to kill everyone in my way. It is a great transformation.
It's a great transformation over the course of the two games. Yeah, it's again not one that I like because I really like Ellie from Last of Us Part 1.
It's sad to see that character fall so far, right?
And the moment that got me is when that literally it's over, and they are back at the farm, and Dina's like, really, like, you're really gonna walk away from our life together for this? And that's the really like heartbreaking moment for me, where
if Joel was there, that's the moment that break his heart, right? Of, I thought, like, you've got everything that I wanted for you. You've got a life, you've got a future. Please don't throw it away for me.
Yeah, and they end up doing so, and it's just really fucking awful in that sense of like, oh god. But
same for Tommy, right?
Everything's fine.
It destroys Tommy's life as well.
Yeah.
Where, like, you see Tommy talking to Ellie of like, I found her, I know where she is. He's like, does your wife know you're here? And it's like, my wife broke up with me.
Yeah.
I've lost everything. Like, pursuing revenge, it cost me my eye, it cost me my legs. It's like...
Town's good? Maria good?
She's fine. We're taking some time apart.
Sorry.
Nah. We talked about it a lot, and it's what we both want, so.
And you would just hope that Ellie would see that happen to Tommy and realise what's happening, but she makes, in my eyes, the wrong decision, and it's so heartbreaking because you just watch that moment where, she's going to throw everything away to become this monster.
She's looking effectively into Joel's eyes, right? Because Tommy is just what would have happened if, like, she'd been killed. Joel would have gone on the revenge quest and would have thrown everything away to do so. And even though she can look directly at Tommy, see this literal broken man, she still makes the decision to do it.
And then ultimately falls apart at the final hurdle, but at that point, she's already lost it all.
Yeah, she's lost her humanity. She's lost the last connection she had to Joel. She can't play his guitar. Everyone leaves. It's really a shame. But I will say, in regards to like the nothing behind the eyes moment, is where she gets Nora. That's the part for me that's like, oh, that's the turn for Ellie.
Think about what he did. How many people are dead because of him?
Last chance.
I'm not giving up, my friend.
If they wanted me to feel sorry for Nora, I'm not going to feel sorry for her. Or like feel bad about what Ellie's doing, because they made the mistake of having Nora taunt Ellie. Like they should have had Nora like say, "I'm already dead. Why do you need to do this?" So it's egregious. But the fact that Nora in her last moment spits in Ellie's face, it's like, well, it's no wonder she fucking snapped, right?
You still hear his screams?
What?
I hear them every night. Yeah, that little bitch got what he deserved.
You fucking...
Yeah, but you feel... I feel more sorry, again, for like the situation of that character than the character themselves, and also just it feels bad as a player to be like, oh, hey, I'm murdering a pregnant woman, right?
That's Mel. That's later.
Oh, that's why I'm getting the two confused. I thought you were talking about Mel.
Like Nora's the one you chase into the sewers, and she goes into like the area of like the spores. And Ellie is like, it's like, oh, you're gonna die too, and I was like, I'm immune. I don't care. I can be in here all fucking day, and I can make it quick, or I can make it slow.
Yeah, for me it was Mel then. I was getting the characters' names confused, but
that is like one of the funniest fucking like. Speaking of like the writers thought they nailed it. Where Ellie kills her and it's like, oh no, she's pregnant. It's like, again, that scene would have worked if not for the fact that prior to that scene, Mel is bragging about how she loved killing Joel and wished they'd done it harder. It's like...
I guess I was shook by Jackson, too.
You don't think Joel deserved what he got?
I think he deserved worse. I just wish I didn't take part in it.
Do you want me to feel bad about killing these characters or not?
Fucking Christ!
Again, the last moments that they have, they all prove that they're just going to be pieces of shit who double down on taunting Ellie to kill them.
And Ellie's probably doing the world a favour by removing those people from the world. Right? It's like it's the Red Hood tech, innit? Of like, oh, every time you kill a murderer, the number of murderers in the world stays the same. And Ellie's like, well, fuck it, if I just kill 20, let's go, right?
But yeah, I do see that is, in my head, the turn of, oh, Ellie's gone too far now because she's murdering a baby, essentially.
But that's an accident. And the reason it's an accident is because Mel tries to kill her. So you can argue it is in self-defense. Yeah. Like, Mel only gets stabbed because I think Ellie doesn't even want to kill her.
Point to where she is on this map. And then you better fucking match up.
The way the scene is framed, and I'll put the clip in to see if I'm right about this, is that Ellie just wants information. So I just want to know where Abby is. I don't want to kill you. Just tell me where she is, and I'll let you go. And Mel tries to kill her which is in any other like piece of media, that is 100% self-defense, right? If someone bum rushed you with a gun or a weapon, and they accidentally get stabbed, trying to tackle you to stab you, but the game tries to make you feel bad about it. Which I found odd from a narrative standpoint.
I felt bad about, again, the situation, not for the character.
Yeah. But I'm wondering what like the intention of that scene is, where it's like Ellie has the reveal of like, oh my god, I killed a pregnant woman. But it's like, but she was trying to stab you. It's like the whole, in regards to gameplay, where they put the system in of like characters you're fighting can occasionally stop and beg for their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the intention there is to feel bad about killing them. But if you just stand still and try and let them go, they try to beat you to death with a brick.
That's the problem, is that they don't run.
Yeah, which makes me think of like, so clearly you put this in as a system to make me feel bad or question whether me killing them is the right decision. But then you always program the character to try and beat me to death with a house brick. Why would I feel bad about killing that person? That's self-defense, right? Because like, it's like every character in the game that you encounter immediately tries to shoot you.
Yeah, on sight, yeah. And
same with all like Abby's companions, where they all attack you on sight.
I do argue that when it comes to Mel, maybe, you know, the skills that Ellie has shown in the game, maybe she could have disarmed Mel. I don't know. It's hard to remember because it has been a few years. Like, it's hard to remember the exact detail of the scene, right?
I just don't know why Mel didn't look at the fucking number above Ellie's head and realise how high level she was. It's interesting, right? I would be curious like what the audience thinks about this. Of, did you feel bad, like person watching this, about killing any of like Abby's companions? 'Cause I didn't. Even when they try to do like the reveal of like you killed a pregnant woman, it's like, but the pregnant woman was trying to kill me.
Yeah, I think the only people I actually fully feel sorry for.
And I feel bad saying that. It makes me sound monstrous that I didn't mind in this, but the narrative was constructed in such a way where Ellie the character, so me, had zero choice. And I don't know what the intent was. If they wanted me to feel bad, I don't understand why. Because if that's the case, why would you craft the scene to have everything Ellie does be defensible?
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering the world that she lives in.
Yeah, the only people I ultimately actually feel sorry for in this entire story is Yara and Lev. I think that's why so many people connected with those two. I wouldn't mind a game where they get to be more of a protagonist role because, hey, they're just protecting their family and trying to not get ostracized by a community of people just for trying to be who they are, right?
Yara and Lev would have been a really interesting character to play as. And in regards to the topic of today's video, being inspired by the fact we're in the middle of Pride Month, like we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the character of Lev, right? And their story is really harrowing. And they were like born in the Seraphite camp, and the Seraphites are like religious cultists, and it's revealed through the game that like, oh, Lev was going to be basically gifted as a child bride to another member of the Seraphites, and they didn't want to do that because they felt that they were a warrior and they present as male, and no one in their tribe respects that.
I heard some of your people calling him Lily.
For a long time, I didn't understand why he was questioning the laws, the traditions. When he explained to me how he felt inside, I told him he had to keep it to himself.
Yeah, and they basically just were not going to accept it and just forced them into it. So, yeah, they escaped from those people, and just their entire life is, hey, I'm on the run. We're getting chased down by the Seraphites and the WLF.
Yeah, who want to kill us for being Seraphites. And the Seraphites want to kill us because I don't want to be a child bride for some religious nutjob.
The rest of the world also just wants to kill them because it's a horrible world, and like the only person that they have to protect them is Abby, who ends up being captured anyway. So just those two just get it so rough.
Yeah, that's they have a really harrowing backstory, which would be interesting to explore.
We should obviously talk about them one day as well.
Potentially, yeah, if they ever appear in like a third game. But I do remember that aspect of their story being like really harrowing. Like where you're talking to Lev and they say like, yeah, the reason that I dress this way is because I want to be a boy. I feel that I'm a boy. And my tribe won't accept that. The Seraphites don't want me to do that because they wanted to give me to an old man to be his bride. And it's like, fucking, that's an awful story.
He seemed fine for a while. But then he shaved his head. Like one of the men. It was suicide.
Is that when you ran?
First I screamed at him. I hit him. It was so stupid.
Yeah, and as I say, I think that's the only time where I can see Abby being seen as a, relatable character, because, yeah, she takes Joel and Lev under the wing, and just, yeah, we'll have to, double check some of the things that they said, and I'll have to re-look at some of it, because if they genuinely think, oh yeah, by seeing the WLF side of things, you realise that everyone's on, their own good side, it's just, goddamn no, they're portrayed as horrible people.
Well, I always assume that was the intention of the game, is that this is a terrible world full of terrible people, and it's like the goal is not to survive but thrive within it, which is very difficult and impossible in some cases for characters to achieve, like Joel, where he doesn't think that he deserves to have the life that he does, and he feels guilty about it, and that's why he throws himself into the start of the game, right, where he's helping people, where he's trying to just get some of that red out of his ledger.
Yeah, to obviously very similar to many post-apocalyptic stories of, oh, actually, the humans are the monsters.
And people think, well, no, the monsters are the monsters. It's metaphorical. Like, the monsters are acting on instinct. It's the humans choose to commit evil, immoral acts, which, some philosophers would argue is the essence of evil, right? Like, would you say that a tiger is evil if it kills and eats somebody? No, it's a tiger being a tiger. But a person doing the same act would be considered to be evil because they had a choice. They didn't have to do that, but they did. They made a conscious decision to end a life, which is an immoral act.
And, practice the golf swing.
That's probably a bit philosophical, a bit heavy for this discussion. So either way, thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time. I've just realised something, Lucas. This video we're recording right now is going to bookend every single video we upload during Pride Month.
That is true, yeah. We pre-record these, but this will actually be during the month of Pride that this keeps showing, right?
Yeah, so I guess shout outs to all the guys, gals and non-binary pals out there. We here at Wiki Weekends support your right to live and love the way you choose. If it wasn't obvious, we support gay rights. Our logo is literally a rainbow.
Yeah, I would hope that, everyone knows that we hope that they have a happy Pride. I hope that both me and you, Karl, enjoy our Pride as well. And just, yeah, it's one of those things of I'm happy to be here and shout out and support those people, but I guess we also have to shout out the people that fucking pay us.
A big shout out to all of our fans who fall under the banner of Pride, but a specific shout out to the people who support us over on our highest tier on Patreon.
Yeah, we don't remove the rainbow from the Wiki Weekends logo after June. We can say that much, right?
Yeah, can you imagine if we did that? We should start removing the rainbow. No, we should do. Keep the rainbow in every month except for Pride Month. Remember where Skittles did that? Where Skittles tried co-opting Pride by releasing entirely white Skittles and saying the only rainbow that deserves to fly during this month is the gay Pride rainbow. And it's fuck off, Skittles.
And then did they take that away a month later? Yeah, they fucking did. They did.
The best one was the one you told me of the IKEA gay pride couches that they released, and they were everyone's well, there's That's a pretty snazzy gay pride couch. I want the gay sofa to have, like, gay sex on. Like, oh, it's not a real sofa, you can't buy it.
But it was a gay sofa for every flag, and they were like, yeah, these are all hypothetical sofas.
Yeah, we're not actually going to make them, but wouldn't it be cool if we did? It's like, so I can't have gay sex on the gay IKEA sofa?
No.
The gay Kia sofa? It's like, no.
The hypothetical gay sofa.
Yeah, like, just that's got to be a title of a video at some point, right? The hypothetical gay sofa. I'm just looking at this list of names, mate, and you've given me all the really hard ones.
I just realised that, like, there's one person in there that said that they were looking forward to you trying out, like, their little tongue twister they left in. And then that means that if going one by one, I've kind of fucked you on all of them.
So yes, if you are currently still watching the video, this is the little shout out we do at the end of each of our Wiki Weekends episodes to say thank you to those on our Patreon who subscribe to the highest shout out tier. And a running challenge, I guess it's just me who's been saying this, so I deserve this, that we've had for our audience is to come up with the funniest or hardest to pronounce name on Patreon you can to fuck us over during this section. And oh boy, have our audience stepped up this month.
They have indeed. And Karl, do you want to kick off the list and continue to get the hard names?
Okay, let's start with, so the first person we shout out is Star, B of Awesome, Star Emoji, B Emoji, Crown Emoji, B 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 Emoji.
You once worked 96 hours straight.
Oh yes, it was horrible, I tell you. By the end, I thought I was a hummingbird of some kind.
Oh yeah, I studied your old security tapes.
Beep, 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 beep.
And after that, we have Wu One King Day One Piece Wonka.
Hey, that's for you, the One Piece.
この帽子をお前に預ける。俺の大切な帽子だ。大事にしろよ。
Yeah, like the One Piece. Is this like with Dragon Ball, where like just people from South America have co-opted it, right? Where you always see like taco trucks in Mexico that have like Goku on there. Which is like the greatest thing, right?
I don't really know whether Straw Hat is popular, but I do know that a lot of like Latin America is massive One Piece fans. I do know that much, but
like, I don't... Dragon Ball. Like, all I can think is just that Fact Fiend video we did years ago, where like strip clubs in Mexico aired the Tournament of Power. We move on now to the next person to shout out, and they've made their name on Patreon a tongue twister for yours truly. So, the burning dragon burns bright in the Bourbon Bureau of bodacious buffoons, buffing barns in the backs of Bengal barnacles. Yeah, and you can confirm, right, Lucas, I had one attempt at that before we started recording. That's my second go. I love tongue twisters. Yeah. Do better next time. The burning dragon burns bright in the Bourbon Bureau of bodacious buffoons, buffing barns in the backs of Bengal barnacles.
The last thing is, Karl had one attempt at it beforehand, and still read it just immaculately without trying.
I'm really good at tongue twisters.
I am not, as the next name, Rustlindis Memphis, will show. Like, I struggle with 2 words.
I admire your luck, Mr.
Memphis. Rustlindis Memphis.
The next name to shout out is in another language, according to the person who wrote it, and that is Niknakui Hochata. So I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies if not, but at the same time, they specifically chose that name to fuck us over, so hopefully they found it funny at least. Just watching this white boy struggle.
Anyway, the name after that is one that's a little bit easier to say, that is Lucille de Steele. Thank you so much for your support.
This robot seems to be running on empty. I don't believe it. Adam is taunting Zeus. Mr. Turbo. He's actually asking for more.
Yes, and I have like a nice, easy to pronounce name after this one, so thank you to Little Ghost for not entirely fucking over me in this specific shout out. Little Ghost.
Next, we've got somebody that did have a ridiculously long name, but now has chosen to, give up the bit, so to speak, because they have many patrons to support, and it's Kicking Bucket. And I can only see this as like a little bucket with a fish in or something, maybe.
No, I think it's a bucket with the handle, right? That's where the rest of the Patreon name went. They put the rest of the name into the little bucket.
They put it in the kicking bucket,
Yeah. And the next person shout out is Judge Dredd. And shout out to the person with the name Judge Dredd on Patreon for letting me keep putting Judge Dredd clips into these shout outs.
I hate cops! Look in my eyes, John. I'll see you in hell tonight.
And you're gonna have to figure out, you're gonna have to decipher how to put in clips for Decipher Bio, Karl.
Well, it's gonna be like Cypher from Pokemon, right? Like, who's that Pokemon? It's Cypher!
Who's that Pokemon? It's Cypher!
Decipher Bio. The god card from, like, Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's Slifer. You get it fucking right. Decipher the Sky Dragon.
Slifer the Sky Dragon, not Cypher the Sky Dragon, yeah.
Decipher Bio, the Sky Dragon. Oh, this next one is someone who's just, like, put an entire sentence in what I presume is Spanish. I studied Spanish at school.
I didn't.
By which I mean I had a really fit Spanish teacher, so I didn't learn any fucking Spanish. So let's give this one a go, shall we? So, Carlos crea un oración, un español para tortura, a Carlo Boliviano, y Lucas Hollandes and Petron. And I'm just going to put on the accent and hope it sounds good. Carlos crea un oración, un español para tortura, a Carlo Boliviano, y Lucas Hollandes and Petron. And all I think, when we're talking about communicating with people from, like, you know, another region of the world, is that, like, incredible screenshot someone grabbed from, like, a Japanese textbook about what people in England talk like. And it shows you, like, a little cartoonish Japanese tourist, and it's some, like, cartoonish British guy with, like, a Burberry cap, and it's like, "Oh, you Chinese slags, you want to go for a shag?" And it's like, I'll be honest, you got us. You got us, Japanese textbook.
The one thing that I love doing is just knowing many different iterations of hello in different languages. And it's just funny how many people are just like, "Oh, we've been cut out, I'm so sorry." It's like, I don't know what you were saying, I just know to be able to try and trick you.
Like, Lucas stands up and starts going, "Yumo Gwegwe Vaidi Sao, Yumo Gwegwe Vaidi." It's like, shit, you watch Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh,
you know
shit.
what you're doing.
Oh, shit.
Bro, watch Jackie Chan Adventures. Like, it's fucking moist right now. But yeah, thank you to everyone at home for watching this far and also for supporting us on our Patreon. Like, I hope people continue to fuck us over with harder tongue twisters and hard to pronounce words from languages we're not familiar with.
And keep just happening to put it in an order where Karl gets all the shit ones.
Don't do that. Everyone needs to do it. Luke has got to suffer too. Do you want to have a go at any of those I said?
No.
Do you want to have a go at the tongue twister?
No, don't. I'll try next month, maybe.